Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPblab, episode number 150. Seniors are tech savvy. Don't be so biased. So I want to let you know that WPblab is made possible this week by our sponsors, ServerPress, Kinsta, and Fat Dog Creatives. Go check out serverpress.com for more info about ServerPress themselves. ServerPress has been sponsoring us for a little while now, and we absolutely love them. We've been using them for building websites. At least I have been using them for building websites. And I love designing stuff locally. If I'm on an airplane, I can use them. If I don't have a good internet connection, I can use them. If I'm having, if I want to just be able to do that local development, I can definitely do it straight from my computer. So go check them out. Also, if you're using WooCommerce, they now have a syncing tool called WP Site Sync, and WP Site Sync supports being able to do syncing with WooCommerce. So check that out if you're using that. They would really appreciate it, and we'd really appreciate it as well. Thank you very much. So, Bridget, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey y'all, my name is Bridget Willard. I'm a social media marketer and marketing consultant, specialized in WordPress products and services. You can find out more at bridgetwillard.com.
Awesome. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do this show as well as another show called WPwatercooler. We're actually going to be recording that today at 11 a.m. Pacific, so feel free to go take a look at that. I also just want to let you know that this is not just a podcast, but it's also a video show. And it's not just a video show, but it's also a podcast. And if you want to listen to us, you can just listen to us by downloading us as a podcast. And if you are someone who wants to watch us, you can go on YouTube, you can go on Facebook, you can go on Twitter. We used to stream to Twitch. I mean, we stream anywhere and everywhere that'll take us. So feel free to go take a look at that over there. We really appreciate it. Thank you. So we've been perfectly and amazingly rude. Warren, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Warren Laine-Naida. You can find me on Twitter at Warren L-Naida or Instagram, or on my website at warrenlanenaida.net. I'm in Germany, and I do online marketing, web consultancy, and last year I've been really focused on senior digital literacy, getting seniors online and using all the tools that we're enjoying.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time out to hang out with us. I'd imagine there's a little bit of a time shift between you and I, but that's
it's
no problem, right?
Well, that's one of the good things about moving our show to 9 a.m. Pacific, because then we could get the Europeans in.
Yeah.
We can't fly them in anymore right now.
No.
No.
Well, you can fly in via the UK, and then, but otherwise, this is Fortress Europe now.
And for those of you 4 years from now that are listening to this or watching this, we have a coronavirus COVID-19 that we're dealing with here in the whole world, and so a lot of folks are sitting at home and staying home and that sort of thing. So, just to give you a little bit of context. So before we begin, there's obviously going to be a difference in what you would call a senior and what we would call a senior. Can you tell us a little bit about who a senior is in your community there in Germany, and what their age range is and what you expect from a senior?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm 57. So, remember growing up, there was Freedom 55. You'd get your 55, senior liver at Pancake House. But here we're not working until we're 67. So I've got colleagues and clients who, are in the middle 60s, but they're still working full time. And, on the other end of the spectrum, I guess, I have contacts and I have students who are in their 70s, who are in their 80s. And I guess like all of us, some of them are very tech savvy and some of them aren't. So it's a broad range, broad spectrum.
Very cool. Yeah, we were discussing at my work, which is a church, about how since we're going to have a lot of folks that are going to be at home who are going to be, you know, watching a live stream of our church services and that sort of thing. One of the questions that was posed to the group was, how do you classify the like the level of tech savviness within that community, and how tech savvy are they? Are they using a flip phone from Nokia that still makes like the old Nokia noise when it rings, or are they using the brand spanking new iPhone or Android phone? And you go to their house and they have every streaming device known to man. You know, so you have that big spectrum of folks there. How are you when you're going and teaching folks or talking to them about being a senior and using technology? How do you navigate that, and how do you kind of figure out, classifying wise what their tech savviness is?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, and it's a very good question. I think it's the same for every demographic. I mean, we have expectations, we have biases. You know, if you're 60, then you're going to be using an old Nokia, and you're not going to have any idea about social media, and you're going to have a TV where you turn the little knob on to get the channels. But then you go into, like, I can go into a senior's house. I was there last week for the choir. I do the website for a local choir, and this house had better IT than I do.
Nice. I love that.
Like the newest Mac keyboard that I've never seen before. They were really at a very high level, and yet there were other seniors there who were using like an old scratchy Nokia. But I think you find that everywhere. You see that at PTA meetings where there's some parents, who are using like a brick phone, and others who, have got Google glasses. So I think this sort of tech access, this is really, this is different regardless of age. But we still assume, the kids are really going to have everything and they're going to understand it, and the seniors won't. But I don't think it's exactly like that.
Yeah. That's why I was calling it a bias, because in social media, I encounter this a lot, where people will say, I'll just have my 14-year-old nephew, my 20-year-old intern do their social media.
Yeah.
And then they assume those people are more qualified when in fact, that's not even, the age has nothing to do with it. In fact, I have a friend who's 25 who barely knows how to use the phone she has.
Yeah.
And then my late husband was 79 when he died. And up until the time he went to the hospital, he was on Facebook all day long. Like, it has nothing to do with age. And even still, like the boomers, the youngest boomer was born in 1964. So they are now, however old, 54 years old, or 55 years old, 56 years old. So 56 is the youngest boomer now. So in our minds, we think all of these people are old, therefore they can't. But the range of technology change from somebody like my grandmother, who was born in 1919, is huge. And they've always adapted. So my grandmother was born before people mass commuted on airplanes, before television, before live television, before movie theaters, before the federal income tax, before women were allowed to vote, and then she sees in her lifetime people going to the moon, landing on the moon, walking on the moon, building an international space station, to this. And for me, a 47-year-old, my favorite cartoon was the Jetsons. And every time I'm on a video chat, it feels like I'm on the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Right. So I think whether or not we have an inclination to technology has to do with how we use tools and what's relevant in our life. That was a long monologue to say, are there any demographic indicators of being tech savvy besides age, Warren, that you encounter?
Well, I'm going to go right out there and just say money. And yes, the seniors who I know, actually, anyone I know who has access to really good tech outside of professionals, well, and then I guess you could say professionals, these are tools. These, if you've got the money, you've got the latest iPhone, and if you don't, then you don't. I think you see this if you're in business, or if you're a teenager, or if you're a senior. It's a question of disposable income. And it used to be that, because to be honest, these are tools. Laptops are tools. The level of phones that we have now, these are tools. And you would purchase the tools and use the tools necessary to get the job done. But we've somehow moved away from these things as tools, and now they are accessories. And we're not using them in the capacity in which they were intended. So then money really comes into question, in the same way as cars. You don't need a $100,000 car. It'll still get you from A to B if it costs $10,000, but it's transcended its purpose to become something else. And I really think that's where we are with tech. And you can see this from, either it's a phone, you can see it from a website, or anything, it's moved beyond its function, its original intended function, to be something else. So yeah, and especially when it comes to money, seniors probably have it worse than anyone else, because once you stop working, the money starts to dry out. And, not all of us, I mean, I do, but not all of us have like, $1 million in the bank to keep us going. I don't actually, to keep us going for retirement. So, we'll have priorities, and the priority might very well be, I'm going to pay heat this month, but not my internet connection. That could very well be. And then, it's not a question perhaps then of abilities. They might still have the ability to interact and use tech. They just don't have the financial resources. And then the question moves away from age demographic to a digital divide based on pure economics. And I really think that these are very connected, and I think we'll really notice that going forward.
Wow. So
you sound a little gloomy.
No. I mean, this is why Jason and I have this show set up without such a rigid framework. Because where I was going was, I was predicting that you were going to talk about like accessibility on websites, make your fonts bigger. Y'all make your fonts bigger, and whatever, that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, I find myself wanting to ask different questions, don't you, Jason?
Oh yeah.
We can certainly talk about accessibility, but I think if you don't have access to high-speed internet, then the size of the font on the website is irrelevant. It's a moot point. Yeah. So
when you're targeting a senior demographic for marketing's sake, what places are you looking at that would be places that seniors hang out on the internet? Is it just Facebook? Are there other places that you can find them congregating?
Well, usually like around the shuffle boards. Early in the morning, they like to cover the deck chairs with their towels and reserve them, and then
that's another mean tested activity.
No, that's a very good question. I've been doing this for the last, specifically for the last, probably the last year and a half. For half of that time, we're really targeting seniors and their pets. And because I was working for a company, a large company that does pharmaceuticals for house pets and larger animals, and then of course the question is who has the most cats and where are they and what are they buying and what sort of channels are they using. But lately it's really been promoting these courses that we're offering at the community colleges, and so how will seniors find out about these sorts of courses? courses. And then it goes into looking to see their search trends, really spending a lot of time on Google. And it's very interesting, the sorts of search patterns that seniors have, and seeing how I can connect with that. I think if I had to find sort of a common denominator, I would say that they're looking for connections, and so if we can place ourselves in these sorts of social settings, and I don't mean social media, but really search and activities, because tech is, one of the functions for tech, and one of the functions for these courses is really it's a social connector, getting the people out of the house and connecting with other people. And so that's sort of been the area I've been looking at and testing to see if I can connect with seniors there. And as well, normal things. I try not to think about senior specific things, because I think then I'm being biased. I'm saying, okay, what could their problems be, and what services could be offered for them. So it could be anything from a WordPress workshop, or social media workshop, and then you just sort of, in Germany it was so Einsteiger. Okay, so you get a course with 15 people, and they range from maybe 20 to 80, but they're all beginners, you know. And so you're not looking at an age group, you're looking at a service, a tool to answer a need. So that's sort of been the approach, and I find it kind of interesting to do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was speaking earlier about where do seniors congregate, I was obviously being a little bit facetious there and a little bit silly in that, but because they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. And you can't target them in the way in which that they're going to be at this one table in this one space, and only them are going to be there. And if you walk up to that table and talk to them, it's guaranteed that all of them are going to be seniors. Like it doesn't work that way, and that's even social media doesn't work that way, because you have seniors that love flying remote control airplanes, who used to be pilots, and now they're just like, I got this glaucoma going on now, but I really love still flying airplanes. I'm going to go fly remote control airplanes instead. Same skill set, same kind of thrill of the whole thing, but it's a little bit different. And so for, you have those people that have essentially had to change and kind of evolve through their lifetime to figure out, like, what is it that I can do that's still the same, gives me that same sort of feeling that I'm still doing sailing. Well, I don't sail a huge ship anymore, but now I go out and sail my boat. There's these different activities that can still be done, but you also have people who you have very seasoned folks that are able to speak into things that we can't anymore. They have years of experience. When we talk about collective years of experience on a team, we have 85 years of collective experience, and there's 8 of them, and they've all been doing this for 10 years. Yeah. It's a different thing. This guy may have 60 years of experience. Like, talk to him about it. Get him involved in it. Yeah. He wants to explain some stuff to you. She wants to explain some stuff to you. And, that's kind of where, digging around, looking on, various Facebook groups or on various, on Reddit or there's a bunch of places that you can go to that you're going to find people that are very, very smart in this because they've been doing it forever. Yeah.
I think with, as we're coming to the tail end of the baby boomers, this is something that's been very new for us. And I guess we'll continue for probably another 10, 20 years, especially in Europe, that we have the percentage of people who are 60 and plus, it used to be like 10%. It's going to 20%, in Europe right now, there is as many people over 60 as there are under 5. In another 10 years, there'll be as many people over 60 as there are under 20. So, you've got this huge group of people, and we never used to have that before. So, they're not retired. They're not, I don't know what they're doing, but, they're really part of the community now, and we can't sort of push them away because there's simply too many of us, and And this is a problem because on one side, we really push lifelong learning. We really push, being active and living longer. But what we're not pushing is giving us something to do for the 20 or 30 years or longer that we're going to be alive. It's really crazy,
No, Warren,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. My
Oh,
grandmother
good.
has been retired for my entire life, and
Yeah,
I'll be 47
it's
in
crazy.
June.
Yeah, I know
Wow.
seniors who have been retired for 40 years. They've been not working as long as I have bbeen working. And
Wow.
I find it really odd that we still have this sort of mindset that, well, but they can't participate. Even in Europe, even in Germany, employing someone when they're over 50 is very difficult. I have my own personal experience of going to career counseling 2 years ago and having, being honestly told, look, have you considered early retirement? How can you be early retired at 55? But it's very serious because try to get a job at 55 or older. This is very difficult. Very,
it has
very
been
difficult.
for a really, really
Yeah.
long time.
And that really needs to change. I thought it would change faster because ironically, most of the people running companies are also 55 or 50. So, they must know. But I guess it's also economics. It's cheaper to get younger people. You can get rid of them easily. And they're less independent because this is one of the things. If you've got 40 years experience doing the web, then you can do it. You can really participate and really give. But you're not probably going to want to sit there in the team meeting for 2 hours a week because your time can be more effectively, used for the company. But if you're not going to be part of the process, then it's harder to sort of control you. Now, there are companies that they give into that and it works really well for them. But most companies, most KMUs, this is just totally different culture for them. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of wasted energy. And,
well, not just that, but like it's that experience issue. And this happened to my husband when his company died. And he was 56 looking for a job he was super qualified for. But one of the issues in the United States is that the older you are, the more expensive your healthcare is. Now, we don't have that for smaller companies. If they're under 15 employees, they don't have to pay for your health insurance. So whatever. But but it is more difficult because companies find that you will want more money. And even me, I went to apply for Bed Bath & Beyond, like, well, you might have to go up a ladder. And I'm like, okay. Like, I know I'm 230 pounds, but like I could go up a ladder, whatever, it's fine. And then it was like, oh yeah, your background is a fit. I'm like, okay, Bed Bath & Beyond, I'm calling you out. But the thing is, I just wanted something to do on the weekends. And a lot of people just want a part-time job because they enjoy it. And for me, the reason why I did was because I wanted to make friends.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have coworkers when you're doing this in your apartment by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's one issue, and that's not isolated to seniors, but also the ageism that's happened since the 60s with the hippie Vietnam War rebel conflict with don't trust anybody over 6 or 35 has really changed how we segregate our society. And I was fortunate enough to have older friends and you get a lot of the wisdom. So people will say, why are you friends with that girl? She's only 25, because it's not about age. It's about, experience, and you can mentor each other, so I think we're not seeing the experience and the mentoring. Like in coding, they have, what do they call it, Jason? Partner coding, pair coding. Pair coding. So like that mentorship needs to exist. And I think that one of the things that might help change it is the fact that the boomers are just now getting there. And Gen X, here we are. You know, we're like right in between two giant generations, boomers and millennials. And then here we are, and we're like, well, we're kind of, you know, I have to be 72 to retire for the Social Security.
Wow. Yeah.
So they are raising it, which is fine. But then, so if we're going to do that, then we need to, as employers and workers, we need to stop thinking old means unable.
Right.
That's the bias, right? So when my old boss and I were traveling to WordCamps all the time, one of the things we really noticed at WordCamp Cincinnati in 2016 is that there were a lot of second career folks. That's what we call them, second career folks.
Yeah.
People who were managers and blah, blah, blah. And they were done. They were done because they could retire at 55, but they didn't want to. And they realized that because of the internet and WordPress, all of their experience allowed them to be freelancers. And they could do this and work as much or as little as they want and still participate in life.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Warren, if you're seeing that there, second career folks saying, hey, I want to learn this because I have all the business acumen. And if I learn this one skill, I can still not, I hate that term, productive member of society. I used to say, like, I'm just a taxpayer, but there's a certain amount of dignity we get as humans from work.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any of that where you are in your Smart Senior program and things like that?
Yeah, there's a great number of people, you know, who were doing one thing and now they're moving, you know, especially like getting their own little businesses, little online businesses and things. I see a lot of that. I mean, I came to tech the same way. I was a trained chef because when I was at university, I mean, we didn't even have bank machines. There was no tech. You know, we had typewriters, and marketing was flyers, you know, and then we had fax marketing. This was like really hot. So I built my first website when I was a chef, and I was doing pastry, which you can see online at chocolatecheese.de. So I built a website to promote my chocolate art. And I mean, being in the kitchen, you know, 15 hours a day, this really takes its toll. So then, you know, after a while, I just took a year off and I taught myself as much as I could. And I was very fortunate because that was the, you know, the internet, the tech boom. So it was 1999, and agencies, you know, if you were interested in internet, you were hired. And so I had cobbled together this website, you know, just copying and pasting code, and, you know, it was working. And I sent that, so here's my website. And the guy who hired me, Jörg Geisler, he's one of my best friends. He's older than I am, you know, and he's like one of the original Google partners. You know, he's been doing it as, you know, longer than I have. And he hired me. And later it turned out that I really had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I learned, and now I know what I'm doing. But, you know, in the summer of 1999, I really didn't know much what I was doing. And he called me in the office and he goes, so I don't get it, because you put together this brilliant website. And I said, yeah, well, I sort of coded it as I could. He goes, see, I understand, because it was so horribly coded. I figured a genius would have coded like this because it's so ironically coded. You know, no real coder.
Yes.
I said, no, it's coded like this because I have no real idea what I'm doing, but it works. So, and we still work on projects together. I mean,
ironically coded.
Yeah.
That's
I love
funny.
that.
So, you know, I mean, I think a lot of us approach this as a second career, and tech is a very accessible second career, because a lot of us move on because of physical issues, or perhaps where we're located, or family. I mean, a lot of issues. And tech, if you've got a stable internet connection and, you know, a laptop, you're ready to go. You know, it's only bordered by your creativity. And, you know, at the point I am now, I find myself teaching people who are in their 20s and people who are in their 70s. And both ranges of the spectrum are now my competitors, because the 20-year-olds are building websites, the 70-year-olds are building websites. And I'm actually like, now, last week I was at the point of, I've got some new clients, which I like, but they're not really where I am. And so now I'm giving them over to my students, which feels kind of weird, but I think it's very important and necessary to do. And but that there's such a range in these people, and it's tech is a completely different industry. It's every other industry is very linear. My son builds tanks for an unnamed company. And it's kind of linear. He goes in, he learned how to do it, and now he's doing a second apprenticeship. And he will build, he started to build basic tanks and larger tanks, and one day he will be training people to build tanks. But with web, you don't sort of really enter and go up the ladder. It's really fluid, and you learn as you go along. And I think the business and the learning and the whole concept of tech, the whole idea of it, and how it's formed our society, for good or bad, is that we need something and we find a tool to solve that, like we always have, but the tools in the past have been more limited. And now we can find these tools, we can create these tools ourselves, we can mix and match these tools to create exactly what we need, and then we can move on. And that's exactly what I find with the seniors as well, and my approach to teaching the seniors, because traditionally at community college, you look through the course offerings and it's like iPhones for seniors, Excel for seniors. This is the wrong approach. You've got a tool and you find a senior to teach it to, but if a senior doesn't want to learn Facebook, they don't want to learn social media. What they want to learn is how to find old friends and how to get into the community. That's what they want to learn. And if social media is the tool, then teach them social media. If there are other ways to teach them what they need to know, then that's what they should be taught. But it shouldn't be as regulated as it used to be. But our teaching methods, I think, really still in many ways are exactly the same, because I don't think we've changed. I think everything around us has changed so fast and so dramatically, and we are simply not prepared for it. We still think with a very old mindset, and it's very linear.
And I agree with you when it comes to the it's okay. I agree with you when it comes to the like Bridget was saying, the generations that are around us. You have generation before us who is very experience driven, and they've learned a lot about these things. And in the exact same way, you have the millennials that are very much so experience driven, and they really want to make sure that they're able to do what they can and learn what they can and do all of those sorts of things. And so I think when you're wanting to do those experience-based stuff, you need a place to put this thing out there. It's in social media, it's on a website, like just for instance, the ad I'm going to do right now, a place in which you can go and put, that information, out there onto the internet. And so just real quick here, I want to let you know a little bit about Kinsta.com. You can go over to their website over at Kinsta.com and check it out. They're powered by Google Cloud. All their plans include PHP 7.4, SSH access for developers, one-click staging area, 20 global data centers, free SSL, free CDN, 24/7 expert support who will also migrate your site free of charge. Check them out over at demo.kinsta.com. Kinsta.com. Thank you very much for helping us out. We appreciate it. So getting back to what I was saying about this idea of, both of these generations around us, that they want to have these experiences. And when you have someone who is a boomer who has done a whole bunch of things, and at this point now they may be traveling, they may be getting involved in their local community more, Then you have people that are millennials that are essentially doing the same thing. They pretty much want to be boomers right now. Like they want to like go do the travel. They want to go do all the local experience stuff that's there. I'm seeing a lot of both activism as well as being very socially conscious. But it sounds like both of those generations wrapped around, my generation that is going, well, yeah, they're going, well, okay. But the two of you need to get together and really start interacting with each other. And I think what's good about that, especially when it comes to that boomer generation, is that they can use the new technologies that are available to them through those folks, and especially even through my generation, through us to say like, how do I build this website? How do I do more than just post about crazy things on Facebook? What's this Twitter thing and how does this actually work? Instagram, let's talk about Instagram. Pinterest, collecting things and putting them online and showcasing the things that you enjoy. You have all those sorts of things. My mom, for instance, she actually uses Facebook, her Facebook posts as a way of like saving the things that she wants to look at later. She actually goes back through her previous posts to look at it. And I'm like, Mom, what's this weird video you posted? She goes, oh, I'm going to watch that later. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
but I am your mom.
Yeah, but she's posted all this stuff that's like, really? Like, why are you posting this?
That explains why people share the weirdest things.
Yes.
Yeah.
She goes through her own timeline to look at the stuff that she posted.
I do the same thing on Twitter. Sorry, but they're like bookmarks for me.
No, I do it on Twitter, but like my roommate's mom, who I really, really like, will just share my pictures. And Wendy goes, why is my mom sharing your pictures? She doesn't share my pictures. And I'm like, I don't know.
Take better pictures.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I never thought of it as bookmarking because I bookmark with Twitter. That's why I use the favorite button, like, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Yep. So the techniques are different. The techniques are different for the way that they're approaching things, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, all this stuff, none of it came with an instruction manual. No one said like, hey, by the way, here's how Facebook works. I mean, there's plenty of people that have written instruction manuals that explain how to use this technology. But really, to be perfectly honest, no one actually knows how to use this technology, because I mean, Twitter didn't even have half the features that's on there right now when it first launched. I mean, it used to be you send a text message, SMS to, a service that would then go and push it out to everybody else. Yeah. And so because of this, we're able to make these changes to this technology just by saying, you know what, I'm going to use it this way and you use it that way. But I think it also somewhat alienates the people around them, because they go like, what's wrong with your mom? Why does she keep posting like recipes about stuff that like, really, like, what's going on with that? And that's when you have that conversation. You're just like, so what are you doing with this? Oh, that's what you're doing with it. Okay, that makes way more sense now. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think what you say about the instruction booklets, it's perfect. Do
you do that? Do you have those sorts of things that you're using to instruct?
I do. I think at certain level, we do like to have something in our hand. I have students who print everything out. I have students who print nothing out. And I used to be a big printer. Now I don't. But I think, for seniors as well, that's, in the intro course, because there's 6 courses and they're sort of meant for, you get in with no knowledge and you sort of come out at the really high end, but you could step in anywhere in the middle. And right at the beginning, it's like, what does digital mean for me? So that quite literally starts with everyone having a piece of paper and a pencil. And I'm just, because the task, at least for digital, for daily, tasks and organization, it's nothing other than a digital way of making a list, So we really start with just writing down, what do I want to solve? What do I want this tool to do for me? Or where do I want to be with this tool? And, that makes it more comfortable, because if you stick a phone in someone's hand or a tablet, then immediately there's a disconnect, because they have to learn how to use this device. But that's not what they want to do. They want to make a list. So, we really start that way. Even with myself, you get a new device and you're looking at this and going, okay, how do I use this? You never look at the instructions. You immediately go for those things that you understand. You start using those, and slowly, maybe you start to use other things. But probably, I think for most of us, 95% of what our phone, our computer, maybe even what this headset can do, I have no idea and will probably never use. And so it's a little scary, but so, I really tried. So let's just find out what we want to do and what do we need, and, to get there.
So is that how you build your curriculum, based upon their self-discovery?
Yeah. Yeah. What they want to do. In the fourth course, fourth module is, it's a lot in one. It's supposed to be more modules, but we didn't have much time. It's really, it's about, it's social interaction. It is cooking, social interaction through cooking. It's about health, and it's about how tech can be used for creativity. So big concept, but basically it's how can you put together a shopping list and cook something with friends? Yeah. That's really basically what it is. I want to get out of the house. I want to eat something other than schnitzel, and I want to do it with a friend. Okay, so you can have fun using, a shopping app. I like Yumly. Oh, are you not supposed to? Maybe okay. Am I pushing?
Oh no, you can say whatever you want.
No, you can. This isn't WordCamp.
Yeah, okay, Yumly's got lots of other problems, but what I like is for seniors is they can put together a shopping list, or they can, they can stick in a recipe, and then they get the shopping list, and then it's kind of fun for them, with a partner, to go around and find the items and click the items away, and then to go home and to actually cook something. And the goal is really just to have a night out, to have some mobility, to eat better, and to try something other than what they always cook. And through this process, through this discovery, they've used technology, but in a very unscary way. So at the end, they go, I used an app for that, and that works. But if you start and say, okay, so welcome to the class, we're going to use an iPhone app to cook. Everyone is going to close their minds.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. So it's just a tool, and I find that much more effective. But I think this would work as well, not just with seniors, but anyone who needs help accessing a tool. So it could be someone with other issues besides age.
Yeah.
All of us have some sort of disability, if I can use that term, challenges, and it's very refreshing and very exciting at the end of the day when you've discovered unexpectedly that you used technology to solve a problem that you had, and now it's your friend. And technology is so often the dark enemy, because we don't understand it.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, because it almost piggybacks on what Jason was saying. The millennials could use the app and then accidentally be spending time with their friends.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a scavenger hunt that way.
Right.
Like, remember, geocaching was such a big deal.
Yeah.
But instead of the meal service bringing your meals to you, like Freshly or whatever. Sorry, Freshly. I don't know. Here's a service that challenges you to make something with a friend.
Yeah.
And you put this recipe in, and then you go find the ingredients together.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the app is what they're comfortable with. It's the social interaction that they're not, because our generation decided the telephone should be the babysitter. So we took what was our babysitter, the TV, because we were the
It's like a
latchkey
telephone.
generation.
Mhm.
And then we gave it to our kids, but it's always on. And we're
Yeah.
all always on our phones. And honestly, before I do tool or tip of the week, my favorite part, I started thinking, why do I love trivia night so much? And I started thinking about it because, we lose a lot, okay?
Mm.
And I'm not really a beer fan. It's a brewery. I mean, they make their own spirits too, but still but one of the things I realized is for 2 hours, nobody is allowed to use their phone because it's cheating.
Yeah. No, it's
So
great.
even if I have the discipline, because I don't have my phone out and I'm not looking at my phone when I'm with humans.
Right.
Like I always saw
Okay.
TV as something to do if I wasn't with my friends.
Yeah.
My friends asked me to go watch movies with them. It was the worst. It was so horrible. I hated it. Like,
Okay.
why would I want to go be with you to not talk? Like, because that's
Yeah.
me. I want to, I can be by myself and be quiet in the comfort of my bed, not being uncomfortable on your couch watching some dumb movie I don't like. Right. So TV is my alone time.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
realized, so I'm fine. I'm disciplined, but not everybody else is around me. But the whole bar, or at least the people playing trivia, 19, 17 teams, aren't on their phone. We're all interacting with our teams. And
That's
it's
cool.
so rewarding. I didn't even realize that's why I liked it until a couple weeks ago. But now it's the tool or tip of the week. And this
Okay.
isn't an advertisement for geekswhodrink.com, but they are awesome. And it's a good thing to do. It's really different for me. But this week's tool or tip of the week is brought to you by Fat Dog Creatives.
Yeah. Mhm.
If you're a service-based business serious about growth, Rhonda Nygaard is your rebranding and web design thinker, a strategic design specialist. Check out her website at fatdogcreatives.com. She's your alpha. So, oh my gosh, I love her website so much. Everything's dogs, 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 dogs. She used to have a dog named Kirby. He was a golden retriever or a lab. I never know the difference. Maybe one has longer hair, whatever. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have kind of I have a tip that I'm going to say I'm going to be really rated G about it. But I found this yesterday. I keep seeing it on Instagram, like, okay, fine, I'll try it. It's, we do all these things to learn about our personalities and our learning styles and our love languages and all this, but we don't have those kind of tools for sexuality. It's always sort of a dark shame, like you must be into something bizarre.
Right.
But it's like, so I found this app called getcoral.com, it's called Coral, but it's getcoral.app. And it's kind of asks you just really basic things, like kind of how the love language test works. And it revealed to me that I was more responsive rather than spontaneous. And I'm sitting there and it goes through all these lessons. In a lot of the ways, it's like my app for cognitive behavioral therapy, the, Wobot, where it's going through these lessons based upon how you answer it. And so there's all these different types. And I was like, holy crap, if I had this when I was married, because it would explain a lot about, some of the issues we had and So it'll go through, it has little testimonials, and it's not NSFW, but it's just kind of normal. It's trying to normalize preferences. But so I wanted to say that just in case there's somebody out there that would help, because in 10 minutes last night, I was like, oh my God, that explains everything. But here's can I have a tool request, Jason?
Sure.
This is my tool request. Somebody smart, please build me this or tell me where it can be. Okay. So I love my Bitly browser extension, my little,
Sure.
what's it called? Bookmarklet.
Bookmarklet, yeah.
Yeah, Bookmarklet. And I use it, I don't even know, all the time, okay? Like, because I'm always tweeting and or curating tweets for other clients, I'm constantly pressing that because I don't like long, ugly links. And
Right.
the way Twitter treats them, they get cut off and you can't copy paste and retweet. It breaks it, blah, 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 whatever, okay? But I would love to have a tool like that or that uses Bitly, but automatically puts the referral of my choice every single time I click it. So I from a branding perspective, I want the referral for all those links to say Bridget Willard, because I tweet people's websites all day long from 10 accounts. Okay.
Right.
And I would love for them to see that they're getting this traffic because of me, even if it came from blah, 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 blah. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into the campaign builder
I might have
every
something for you.
single time. And
Yeah.
I even looked at Bitly Enterprise, but you have to do it every single time. I'm not doing it every single time. That's why I use the Bookmarklet. I'm going to
Right.
click it. I'm going to copy and move on with my life. I don't have time
Yeah.
for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So that's my little tip and my tool request. So
Yeah.
hit me up in
think
the
I might have-
comments, y'all.
I think I might have something for you, but I'll have to think for a little bit here and then circle back and talk to you about it. Warren, do you got
Travis.
anything to share with us?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. We only have 10 minutes, so
You only get 5.
okay. Wow, what is pressure? You Americans, I tell you.
You got a book.
I know.
Gotta,
You're a nice Canadian living in Germany, so you should be more American by now.
There you go. I think we're all going to be with the whole change with coronavirus. I mean, in Europe, I mean, I'm in Germany right now, and all the schools are closed. All events are shut down. Community colleges. I mean, everyone's basically now going to be at home with the toilet paper and the pasta that we hamster bought over the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to tell you where mine is, but it's safely hidden. So we're going to be at home for a long time, and because there's no school, we've got the kids at home now, and they're thinking, ooh, holidays. But I think if we're smart, if we get out of this and we're smart at the same time, this is almost like a black swan moment, because we could really use tech right now in different ways. Remote working is not as normal as it should be. Companies are really fighting against this, and I'm hoping that over the next couple of months they see, hey, remote workers actually produce. They don't have to sit in the office for 8 hours. They actually produce. And I'm really surprised by how many educational institutes do not have immediate transfer online. So I'm hoping these two things really coalesce. That's my big wish. And my next wish is, if you're going to be at home for like the next couple of months, don't binge watch 16 seasons of the same show. Read something. If you're going to read something, you've got to read The Innovators. It's written by Walter Isaacson. Came out a few years ago. It's in print. And it's great if you want to understand tech. It takes everything apart and shows you where we started. And I think, especially for older people, if they read this, they can say, we have this, but it's because of that. And it is so brilliant. It's a great book. I don't know if you read it, but
No, I'm putting it on my list.
you've got to read it. It's so great.
I would love that.
Is, so that's what I've got for you. And I suppose, be nice to older people, because I forget the guy who said this. He said, the client, the customer is not an idiot. They're your wife. What's this guy?
Oh, I've heard that saying too.
The famous ad guy. And
David Ogilvy.
There you go. In the same way, don't send the old people away, because they are you. In 10 or 20 years or 30 years, that's going to be you. And then you're going to feel really silly with all of the information and abilities that we have. And one day someone's going to say, oh, but you're old, we don't need to hear from you. If we're going to pull through whatever we're going through, that's the only way it's going to work. Because I hear a lot about inclusivity, but it never seems to include the elderly. And then it's not very inclusive. And tech really needs to be.
Yeah. Whew. Man.
You guys still got the whole Friday ahead of you, don't you? I'm done. It's pizza and beer night, Friday night. Schnitzel. Did I say pizza? Sorry, schnitzel.
So I wanted to kind of piggyback off of a previous thing that we discussed, which is the Chrome extension called Momentum, and it's something
love this so much, Jason.
Yeah, it's as you can see, it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning here, and the idea of this tool is to kind of bring all the pieces in your life together, so you can have a start page that you can look at and say, like, what is going on today, and what can I do, and what do I need to do. The one I want to focus in on is over on the right hand side here, and I made sure I kind of looked through this list to make sure I didn't have anything that's that's bad. But I have I work in IT, and I manage the IT systems at a church, and using this Momentum page allows me to, if you pay for their pro subscription, lets me replace their built-in to-do list, which is, it's a basic to-do list, but it doesn't do anything else but just a to-do on this interface here. And I wanted to be able to add in additional things. For instance, if someone sends me an email, which I'll switch over here and you can see, you look over at the email, you can see that I can grab one of my emails that's listed in here, which is currently blurry because, and so what you can do is grab one of those emails and literally drag it over to the right-hand side and load up the tasks bar. So in Google, in Gmail, there's a section over here on the right-hand side that you can add additional things. You can add calendar, you can do Google Keep, you could do tasks. If you're using Slack, you can install Slack. You could put Asana in there if you're using Asana. A whole bunch of different things. There's a little plus sign down here. You can add additional ones in there. But when you click on it, it opens up that task list. So you can see my tasks that are listed here over on the right are the same tasks that are over here. So when I check off one of my tasks over here, so for instance, like this calendar one, if I check that one off, if I go over here in a second, that calendar one will disappear from here. So having the functionality, being able to do, having this functionality, being able to use this to kind of figure out, what's going on where and what tasks I have happening, makes it super simple for me to do. It also makes it so that when I'm using this Google Tasks thing on my phone, I can also do the exact same thing. So if I load up Google Tasks on my phone here real quick, I'll show you. So here's Google Tasks on my phone, and I'm looking at my phone. And if I check one of these tasks, it will check the task in my tasks in Gmail, as well as the task that's on that Momentum page.
That's awesome.
So it's all in one big circle. Kind of like, for instance, I took care of this one yesterday, so that one disappears. If I look over on the right over here, in just a second, this one will disappear as well. See, just disappeared. Well, and then if I go over here, it disappears over here as well. So if you want to use something simple, like Google Tasks is built into Gmail. And if you're using Gmail, you might as well use Google Tasks. And you don't have to pay anything extra for it. And if you don't need all the crazy Asana type stuff that, you may or may not need, for me, I don't have a bunch of customers that I'm interacting with. And if they are customers, they're internal customers that I can just stand up and walk over to their desk and say, hey, I just completed that project for you. We're good to go.
Does it go the other way around?
What's that?
If you click it in Momentum, will it
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All the ways. Yep. But folks, that's it. It is the end of the hours. We appreciate all of your time for hanging out with us. Warren, we learned a lot today, and you kind of reassured me a bunch of things that I had known, but I'm also now you have me thinking about all these things that I had no idea of that I need to start exploring. And for someone like myself who works at a church, we interact with people of all different shapes, sizes, ages, creeds, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, you got me thinking now. And so I hate you for that. And now I have to you literally gave me homework. So thank you very much for your time, for being with us. We really appreciate it. Bridget, as always, thank you very much. If you want to go to our website over at WPwatercooler.com, you can learn how to subscribe to this content, as well as the content that's going to be happening in an hour as well over on WPwatercooler.com. We're WPblab. You can go over to WPwatercooler.com/WPblab, where you can check out all the different shows that we've done. If you're stuck at home and you don't want to watch Netflix, man, we have backlogs of stuff. We have so much content, 150 episodes of stuff that we've talked through. So definitely go take a look at that. And if you're just, washing your dishes or something and you want to still, listen to us, you can listen to us as well. Your hands are busy, but you can still sit there and listen to us as well. So go find us over wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Thank you very much. You have a good one. Talk to you later.
Bye.